I just want to talk about what's been going on in the US, especially in the wake of those two shocking mass shootings last week and the way the invective has been ramped up, and especially people have been blaming Donald Trump. Now, we all know Trump's divisive and can be abusive and all the rest of it, and we all know that the country's got a big problem with gun control because they've had mass shootings under all sorts of presidents for years. It's an endemic problem. So the way they've tried to fit up Donald Trump for these shootings, I think, is quite beyond the pale, especially when it comes from a man who's a former vice president. Have a look at Joe Biden.
How far is it from Trump saying this is an invasion to the shooter in El Paso declaring, quote, "This attack is a response to Hispanic invasion of Texas"? How far apart are those comments? I don't think it's that far at all. It's both clear language and in code. This president has fanned the flames of white supremacy in this nation.
Gemma, when you got a bloke who used to be vice president, is now trying to be a candidate in the presidential election, and he's accusing the sitting president of fanning the flames of white supremacy, effectively saying he's a white supremacist and who's trying to destroy the fabric of the nation, and that's just so inflammatory and dangerous, isn't it? It worries me.
Well, it's not just inflammatory and dangerous, Chris. It also shows that, unfortunately for them, the Democrats seem to have yet learned nothing from their years in the wilderness. If they think that Middle America doesn't see through things like this, if they think that Middle America doesn't remember Sandy Hook, and the reason that we always reference Sandy Hook is because if a schoolroom full of little children can be gunned down in cold blood and a country doesn't have the political will to change, then it's likely they won't have the political will to change ever. And the way that the Democrats are trying to play this as solely a response to Donald Trump, what he says, what he tweets, is transparent. It's Tupperware to most American voters who know that it is not the fault of the sitting president. It's lazy politics, it's intellectually vacuous politics, and quite frankly, it's beneath this chap. He has a short memory, so it would seem, but what he's forgotten is voters have very long, very effective memories.
Yeah, look, it worries me. One of the things that worries me about it, Nick, is that I don't trawl through the American media as much as I'd like to on this, but I haven't seen a backlash against Biden. I haven't seen commentators in the American media saying that this was an extraordinary speech by Biden. They've just reported that this is, oh, you know, he's declared Trump, as if that's normal behaviour in the world's greatest democracy for a presidential aspirant to say that the bloke in the Oval Office now is trying to destroy the nation through white supremacy.
Yeah, that's a common view. I mean, Bob Carr's written that in this country, that Trump is a... But yeah, I think what we're seeing is this inflation of the English language. You know, it used to be if you called somebody a racist, it was a terrible thing. Now, I mean, if somebody calls you a racist, it's water off a duck's back, right?
Well, how do they find words to describe a real white supremacist? So now they're going,
you're fanning the flames of white supremacy. You know, pretty soon it'll get built up and up and up. So I think that certainly on the right of American politics, it's discounted or mocked. But I agree with you, it's a stretch. But what look, if only, and this is probably total fantasy in the American context, if only Donald Trump could do to gun control what LBJ did to civil rights. You know, LBJ, the unlikely champion of civil rights from the South, and so he could do it. Donald Trump, you know, a hard conservative with a lot of conservative friends, he could do it, but maybe that's just dreaming.
It is dreaming, but I shared the same dream. He has talked a lot about doing more on background checks. He's going to move on that. We'll see how far he goes and how much support he gets.